Ah, yes. Hello everyone, my name is Will Miss It and welcome back to Trimming Armour together with my beautiful friends, Mr. Maikeru and Mr. Ravlar. Hello guys.
Hello. Congratulations to both of my co-hosts for winning another Golden Gnome each. You definitely deserve it.
Oh, that was so much fun.
I'm very proud of you guys.
Yay.
That was actually really cool this year. Like, imagine... well, I was going to say, imagine... well, to be honest though, I felt like it was a bit long with the violin stuff, but the actual gnomes were pretty much fun this year, and I'm very happy about that. It looked really, really fancy.
It was really nice. The only one thing I had as an issue with the gnomes is they kept saying it was a night for us, but then they had the things in between and cut our clips down from the 30-second maximum down to like 10 seconds, and some of our clips didn't make sense when they were showcasing the streamers and the awards and stuff.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that.
So other than that, it was perfect. I feel like if they had one less violin, song, then they could have had everyone's things full length, and I think it would have been a little bit better. Or they should have asked us for a 15-second clip, right? You know.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, this is on the Friday. There was a Golden Gnomes at Runefest, and it was a specific event, just the Golden Gnomes on the Friday. Whereas last year on the Friday they had a whole orchestra, so it was a lot different this year. And like Maikeru said, it was meant to be all about the content creators on the Friday on Runefest this year.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really mind it too much. I guess the songs were a bit too long and very loud. But all in all, it was a nice experience. It was good to go around and chat with people in between the breaks.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I enjoyed the way that it was hosted. That was my only gripe. Like, if I had to pick something, that was the only thing. Other than that,
yeah,
it was definitely run much better this year, and it gave more time for the gnomes, which was nice because they would have to have rushed it in like an hour window before.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice having a night dedicated to it. I do like that.
How did your speech go, Maikeru? Were you nervous at all?
A little bit, yeah. And when I got up there, I just got blinded by the lights. So, like...
Yeah, you said, it's really bright up here.
That was pretty much the first thing that came to mind. And then the woman told me that I had a weird flex, but okay, by saying that I won 2 gnomes. But it was more the fact that, everyone done so good this year, and I didn't expect to win a second. Not... hey, look, I've won 2, ha ha ha. It was like, so I was like, why did she say that? Now it just makes me look bad. But I think it was okay, hopefully.
She made you look bad, didn't she?
She made herself look bad. Let's probably not talk about that. She made herself look really bad.
I feel a bit sorry for her because she went a bit on a rampage on Twitter after Runefest.
Yeah.
Responding to all the hate. But then again, she was very unreasonable in a lot of the comments that she made on Twitter as well. I don't know. I shouldn't say too much about this. I'll get hate.
Is anyone drunk yet?
Yeah, what was up with that? I'm not a drinker at all, right? I was sat there ripping like my can of Coke and was like, yeah, I'm pretty drunk. How you doing? Yeah, that was special. But all in all, it was a good event.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm really happy about that. I gave my gnome to my co-creator who lives in England.
Wow.
Because I couldn't fit it in my bag, mainly.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so massive, though, the entire gnome. It's like half a meter tall. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is a big gnomey boy.
It's a big boy. Right, but this is a bit of a special podcast, isn't it? Because one of us is not going to be here next time. Rav.
I'm leaving you guys because last time I was on a podcast with Will and Mike, I got really hurt because Will kept on saying 3 Golden Gnome nominees and Ravlar multiple times. And this one, I'm sure he's going to say 2 Golden Gnomes and Ravlar.
Well, technically, Maikeru has 2 and I have 7.
Oh, I have 1, dude.
So that's 10 gnomes.
That's 10 gnomes in between us. See, Rav, you're part of this too.
I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate
You're helping, yeah. What gnome did you win?
Best new YouTuber, and I've uploaded 12 videos since then. That was last year.
See, that's
shaking
great.
My head.
You're doing great. Yeah.
I think that I would have been nominated for best new streamer if I hadn't quit and quit multiple times streaming.
That's usually how it works. That's like people in baseball are like, I could have gone pro if it didn't break my leg. Sure,
but
mate.
no. Honestly, I'm so happy that Nate got it because he deserves it. He's my homeboy. He works so hard, and he's honestly one of the nicest people you could speak to. Absolutely, pure at heart. So pure. It sounds so emotional, but if you go talk to him, he's just happy. He doesn't see any negativity. He's just all love. That's how it should be, dude.
Rav, did you want to speak about like why you're not going to be here and what your choices are?
Yeah,
and
tell
everything?
us about your quitting.
Sure. So for those that don't know, I started making videos in like 2018, 2017, and all I did then was just make Iron Man progress videos because I saw people like Overfletch do it, and I thought it was really cool. And that went really, really well. Like the growth I experienced was humongous. It was like Viagra on steroid, and it was amazing to see how much love I got in a short period of time. And then I got nominated for the Golden Gnome, and I somehow won that, which on reflection I don't think I deserved, because I definitely did not, keep up with it. But since then, I've uploaded sometimes, and when I do, I always put in a lot of effort into my videos. There's loads of people out there who, can upload regularly, and they put in a lot of effort as well. But for me, it's like a whole process. It needs to take so much time, and I used to like kind of get upset with myself for not uploading, etc. And I was like really ingrained in the community. I felt like such a part of this game. At my age, like at 24, it was good because, I was on my gap year. I could do that. I had time to do that, but I felt like I was too ingrained in it, and I need to take a step back and just focus on myself. And if I am still like involved in the community, I think it's quite hard for me to do. So I think I've taken the decision to step back, enjoy it from afar by like, AFKing, but not really paying attention to updates or anything, going off Twitch, going off Discord. And it's bittersweet because I know I'm doing it for the right reasons, but I've had so many amazing experiences. I've met so many amazing people, like these two noobs in the chat. Like, it was like so worth it for me because I'm getting out of breath and getting emotional. One thing which I find speaking to people online is that you can be so honest with them and not be judged, which is something I really like. Whereas in real life, if you know people, they're more likely to judge you. But people online, lots of people in this game have mental health issues, and we can talk about that and stuff like that. And there's no stigma. There's their stigma behind it, I suppose. So, yeah.
I think it's a very mature decision you're making with taking yourself in consideration for that. I know that's something that I could never do. I'm having the same thoughts as you because, like you, I put a lot of effort into my videos, and it takes a lot of time to make them. And I always also have that idea of that it's really bad not to upload anything for a while, and I got like conscious about it, and I figured that it's going to ruin my entire career or whatever. And it's really difficult for me, at least, to take that decision to take the time I need, I guess, or step back or anything like that. Not that I want to do that. But that's what I really admire about you, because you actually can take that decision, and I would never be able to do that.
I was at a stage where, I need to make it clear that this is a hobby for me, whereas, it's different for Maikeru, the RS guy, and, people who are doing it full time. Like, this is what their path is in life, and, if you look at the amount of love they receive, the amount of support they receive, it is they're doing what they should be in life, But for me, it was always like, oh, I want to try out video editing, I want to learn a new skill, so why not make RuneScape videos? Make RuneScape videos, learn a new skill, went really well, and it's just, especially with streaming as well, when you put yourself out there to stream, oh my god, the amount of energy it takes, I don't know how like Maikeru and Ryan do it, because they do long streams every day without failure, right? And
how do they get the time for that?
I mean, that's their job though, right? Like, that's their job. I get this, but the thing is, like, the amount, because if you're not happy, if you go on a stream, if you're not happy, then it's going to be a shit stream, but like, they just put on a face, and then they can like raise the energy of the stream, and that I found was really unique, because streaming's helped me make so many amazing friends, which I never did, and I got so much support on streaming, which is crazy, because when I first went into Twitch, I was like, why on earth would I pay someone to play a game? And I'm gonna watch them play a game. They're having all the fun. Why would I do that? And then, like, as soon as you do it, you realize, like, oh my god, this is so energy consuming. You're making people laugh. You're creating a community. And the thing is, I love Twitch so much. I was a bit too emotional with Twitch. Like, I'd react to things which I shouldn't have reacted with. And like, it brought out a bad side to me as well as a good side. And yeah, overall, I just was too engrossed in everything RuneScape. And I just like, you know what? Even though I'm not uploading, I was just thinking about it all the time. I just needed to take a step back and focus on myself. Sorry, big rant over.
Just to lead on tiny bit to what you said, is when it comes to like if I'm having a down day or like a bit more of a not so fun day or just feeling a bit poopy, streaming is also quite beneficial at the same time, because the people in the stream and the stream itself and the things you do and the conversations you have can cheer up your mood. And then when your mood's cheered up, you then cheer other people up at the same time. So even though, you have to be happy all the time and you need to be cheerful all the time, sometimes the stream helps me as much as I help the people in the stream, if not more. So there's also that part to it, right?
True.
So now that you're finishing with the video making and the streaming and stuff, what are you moving on to? Before we move on to the other stuff in this podcast, like, what is your plans now?
I'm going to be taking a step back. After my master's, my dream was to set up my own business and focus on myself, and I have to do that. So if you want to set up your own business, you have to be 100% all in. So that's why, I'm making this sacrifice, if you can say so.
So you're going to be a businessman, Rav.
Yeah, and Maikeru and Will are going to advertise me on their streams. I'm kidding. Type Ravlar leaves code for 10% discount. It's I have a few business ideas and I owe it to myself to chase that. If not, I used to be a managerial consultant when I used to be at university with placements, and that's what I'm going to get back into if it doesn't work out, but I believe in myself. If I put everything to it, it will work out. And,
awesome.
I'll try my best. That's all I can do.
That's really cool. All right, so best of luck with that. And I'm sure it will go well. You just got to focus on it and stuff. And I'm sure I'll be able to let people know and keep in contact with you. And if anyone asks, and I can play, well, now he's doing this or this is happening or whatever. So it'll be cool.
Yeah, so just like my final point on that is like, this is very much a me problem, like not a RuneScape problem.
Oh, yeah.
Like, RuneScape is very addictive. Like, I'm sure we could all agree on that. The majority of people out there can regulate themselves and, just enjoy it to a bit where it's not, like, impacting them negatively. For me, it's like, it is impacting me negatively, so I'm taking a step back for that very reason. So don't feel like you need to do the same. Like, keep playing the game if you can do, happily. I don't want to see numbers fall.
Well, that's fair. Well, you're not the only person who's leaving us, though. We have seen a huge, like, increase of popular JMods, quote-unquote, leaving Jagex, most recently the fellow guy Shawnee. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I don't feel so bad about Shawnee leaving compared to some others because he is choosing to leave and he's got something better that's better for him, better for his family, better for everything. So, okay, it sucks for us and we're going to lose like a big face of the company and one of our friends pretty much because he's like the lovely guy that you get to, see, speak to, interact with on streams, everything like that. So RuneScape will take a bit of a hit and they need to find someone good to replace him, and that'll be hard because they're big shoes to fill. But for him as a person, I'm very happy for him and I wish him the best. Also, that leads into, on the 29th of October is his last day, and we're going to be doing Trimming Armour live on my Twitch channel. That'll be in the description of the video if you're watching it on YouTube. Otherwise, if you're on Spotify, you can just find my channel somehow. And we'll be doing a live one with Shawnee, and then I'll edit it down into a podcast for you as well. And it'll be like his leaving Q&A and some other things, and us just like giving thanks to him and just expressing our gratitude, and then everyone in the chat and the community can express their gratitude, ask questions, and he said he's going to try and answer everything he can. So that's going to be really excited on the 29th. But yeah, I feel like Shawnee is going to be a big hit for Jagex.
So like, here's the thing, right? If you run a business, I know Mod Shawnee is an exception to this. He left of his own accord. And, we've talked about Mod Lee saying that, that probably wasn't right the way it happened. But if you run a business and your employees aren't doing as well as they should be doing, you should fire them, right? And replace them with better people. The issue is, are the people being laid off not doing their jobs well? Like that's the thing. We can't tell that from outside, right? So replacing them, they need to replace them with better people. That's the key. If that's happening, I don't mind that there's so many people leaving the game. Leaving the company, as long as they're replaced with quality.
Yeah, but then it goes back to like how things look though, and right now it doesn't look very bright.
It doesn't look good. You're right.
And sure, like I am quite confident that things are gonna stabilize, maybe go a little bit better in a short period of time, but this gap hole is not good in any way. So I don't know. I'm just kind of excited to see how things are going to go and what their plans are for the future.
Yeah, I want to see, hopefully, some good stuff. And the fact that all of these changes happening seem bad right now, hopefully we can look back on it in a year's time or like 6 months time or something and be like, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad, or okay, maybe the choices they've done for this or this, it's not so bad. This new guy is actually really cool, or they're doing a really good job here, or they're like, we never know until the new people step up and do what they need to do, right?
Yeah, so the thing is, right, like in any business, you have to like say, okay, is this short-term like negative period gonna be, is it worth me taking this small hit if in the future things are much better? And if that's the case, they're like, okay, what's not going well? What can we improve? And they are looking. They fundamentally made these changes to improve it. So right now it looks bad. If, like, for example, it looked like the situation's far more positive, like 5 months down the line, I think it would have been worth it. But we can't tell right now. That's the issue, right? That's the thing. Like, we aren't made privy to the fact that, why these people have been laid off. Like, is it really because, some of them aren't doing their job well? Are they the ones pushing for it? We don't know about that. We only know, like, certain people's situations, like Mod Shawnees and Mod Lees. So that's the tricky bit. If it does go well and these people do bring positive change to the company, it will be worth this kind of, like Will said, low period in the game.
We do know, though, that a lot of people have joined Jagex recently as well. Just at Runefest, for instance, I talked to a lot of people who had recently joined Jagex.
True, yeah.
So I guess things are going up and down in that sense. And it is hard to speculate on it. It's actually it's kind of funny, actually. I was thinking about the comment someone made in previous streams saying I'm really against Jagex or like anti-RuneScape, and I feel like this is kind of like supporting.
I saw that as well. Will miss it. It's so anti-Jagex. Please replace him with someone more positive.
I feel like this is kind of going into that as well, because I don't sound like, oh yeah, everything's going well right now. I don't know. I'm just trying to be a bit realistic and see what's going on behind the lines without really knowing what's going on behind the lines. I pretend to know a lot of things, but I don't really know anything.
It's good though, because if everyone on this podcast was like, oh yeah, I agree, is there anything to talk about?
That'd be a fun podcast.
You need to bounce the ideas off, even if it's something that I personally don't agree with, or like something that I don't think personally, I'll still give the idea out there and bounce it. So that's the important part, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to all of this, I feel like we get really concerned with Jagex as a company because they're so transparent about
everything,
people leaving and everything like that. Yeah. Whereas if you look at any other gaming company, like if someone left Activision, like no one cares because
exactly.
it's not like a relationship you have with any of those people behind the scenes. Whereas we have relationships with the JMods. We have built up, knowing this JMod, knowing, Mod Shorty, knowing Mod Lee, knowing Mod Meadows, whoever it is, like, whoever's left and however it's happened, it's just a bigger impact for everyone when it's Jagex being so transparent. I feel like that's a big thing as well, and I think that's something that people don't realize.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And that's a good thing, right? We should give Jagex credit where it's due, like being transparent, Like I think we mentioned it before, but like Will was like a few years ago, we didn't know what a JMod looked like, and now, like like back then, like in 2009, if a JMod was fired, we didn't know, like we didn't know what they were, who they were, and now we pretty much know everything, and I think that's a good thing because it makes them seem more human. We can relate to them a bit more, and like they're doing a good job of making themselves known to us. So like we should give Jagex credit there. But it obviously is a double-edged sword as well. Like, that means that, we are attached to them, so it's harder for Jagex to let them go.
I think it's worth mentioning as well, though, that we're saying these things out of concern as well, because we do care about this game.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, So I've been told before that people, specific people think that I am very controversial and against the game because I'm saying these things. But no, I am very concerned about the game, and I want things to be better. Which is why I'm bringing up the tough questions sometimes.
We want RuneScape to survive, yeah.
This is our childhoods, though. Like, see, your livelihood is Ravlar's past now, and it's my childhood. I care about this place, and I want it to be good.
We've invested forget the time, the energy that we invest into this game, the energy in our communities and stuff. We feel it. If the game's doing well, we're happy. Like, just we're the happiest people. We want it to go well. And like sometimes we're super critical, but we feel like it could be done better. That's all. That's all. That's all there is.
So that's quite simple.
So, moving on then to some more, I guess, light-hearted things and some more positive things. Linking into Runefest that's just finished recently, and all of the different things on the keynote. There was a lot of content on there. A lot of people were a bit skeptical. A lot of people were like, they promised so much. Are we actually going to get it all? Like we discussed on our previous podcast before we went to Runefest, we said, if we get promised a lot of things, people aren't really going to expect it. Or, if they don't reveal much, people would just complain they're not revealing much. I like the fact that they've chose the route of, we're going to give you all of this content that's coming out, but we're not going to give you solid dates for it, so that there is a timeline and you can expect these things, but don't expect them on a specific month. I like that, because then if anything's delayed a little bit, then they can still get out in the timeline, and it still goes smoothly.
Well, they did still put out dates, though. Well, not specific dates, but say like November 2020, for instance, and that kind of worries me a bit, because all we need is one delay and the community will hate it,
But the thing is, they've given that November's like next month, right? So that's in their fucking channel. Like, they can see that's like nearly done, and it probably only needs bits and bobs. And also bear in mind that there have been 13 weeks without an update, so they've had all that time to work on it. So.
There was only 4 things that got given dates, and that was Ranch Out of Time and 120 Farming and Herblore, which again, like you said, Rav, is next month. Then they gave the date of late 2019 for the Android unrestricted beta. Then Archaeology was January, but they've been working on that for a year and a half, so they obviously expect to get that out in January. And then Elder Gold Dungeon was summer 2020. Everything else in between that is going to come out in between those things, but there's no date on any of that.
Good.
I don't know, I'm really just worried that the first update they're announcing is going to be delayed. And that is not a good predecessor for the rest of the updates. And of course, this is just speculations. I don't know this per se, but we don't know, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't have promised it, especially with the trust being so low, if they couldn't deliver on it personally.
I think they would, to be honest. And I'm saying that because of the previous Runefest. And I know they're trying to make things different this year by actually making things they know they're going to make. But we all know it's hard to be sure of things. I think the mining and smithing beta is a great example of that. Or the weapon diversity, who got just completely cancelled because it didn't really fit their standards. And I think this is the same thing. Let's say, for instance, that in QA, they figure out that something is not working as intended, or they can't do a specific thing. What are they going to do? They're going to delay it, sure, with the statement, but it's still going to go against everything they've said at Runefest, which starts off everything on a bad note.
If it does happen, then yeah, I agree with you. That's such a bad precedent for the rest of the year, and it will look horrible on the company. But, fingers crossed, they don't do that, because that's something that's very hard to recover from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just hyped for Archaeology, to be honest. Give me Archaeology. I need it.
Dude, Archaeology is gonna be great.
Wait, okay, here's a question for you guys. So at Runefest, the 2 skills were announced, right? What did you guys think the 2 skills were gonna be?
The 120s.
Summoning and construction.
Yeah, same.
Because everyone's kept saying that, and I felt like it's been hinted a lot. But everyone's like, no, that's not happening. It's Herblore 4. I did actually not expect that at all.
I had some people tell me in my chat, they were like, it's going to be Farming and Herblore. I don't know whether they actually knew, but there was a fair few people in my chat before Runefest saying it was going to be Farming and Herblore, and I was like, the only things they've ever spoken about was construction and summoning, and they were like, Farming and Herblore, dude, and I was like, probably not, but like, it was.
Really? Oh, that's weird.
So for me, right, summoning never made sense because it would increase the combat level and people would just be unhappy, right? It would just cause trouble, right? Massive power creep, and they managed to introduce some new summoning updates with the, I don't know, is it Archaeology?
Yeah, ancient summoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was, I thought I was willing to bet my RuneScape house on construction. But sadly it wasn't that. And that's because they started asking for ideas for construction as well. But I did think it was Herblore because Mara Ryan tweeted, "Hey guys, this is a completely inconspicuous tweet, but can you guys give me some ideas for new potions which you may like and may or not like?" So,
well, honestly though, because he made that tweet, and I actually thought the same as you did. I thought they were going to extend Herblore. But he made another tweet, I think, replying to someone saying it's just for fun or something he's doing on the side or for quests or whatever. And I just completely fell for that. I was like, yep, that's true. He fooled me. The trickery.
If player-owned farms didn't exist, I would be quite against 120 farming because, it's just a lot to do with planting seeds. But because there is player-owned farms and they're going to make a batch 2 of player-owned farms and stuff like that, it looks good. It looks fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've also got to remember the new trees and the new crops that you grow are going to be better XP than magics and palm trees and stuff. So there is going to be faster XP daily or whatever. Like from both of the player-owned farms and all of the new trees, it's going to be pretty quick to get 120 probably.
And the good news in the short term for the PVMers, boys, the seed prices have like doubled, man. Was like true, after so long of magic seeds being like 10k, they've finally gone up in price, guys.
Potions as well, like spiritual warriors were OP enough. They were like 5 mil an hour, AFK and Slayer dungeon. Now they're like 6.5 mil because super strengths and stuff are like 15k. Like, yeah, all right.
A couple weeks ago, right? I had like 101, I think, in her blur. I was thinking to myself, I need to get level 105. And I want to get it fast, so I bought 100 mils worth of potions just to get it quickly. But because I'm a very slow player, because I have a lot of things going on in real life, video making and everything, I spent a long time making that. And yesterday, I finally realized, okay, I'm done with it, I'm gonna sell it. Doubled in price.
Yeah, it's insane. Everyone's going for 120 Herblore.
I sold it for 200 mil, and I bought it for 100 mil. I made almost 100 mil on Herblore. What?
Alongside that, like, it's really good for skillers as well, because Herblore is normally quite an expensive skill, and you can make things like super strength, super defenses, stuff like that. You can actually make all of those potions and profit right now.
Yeah.
And the herbs have gone up to correlate a bit, but whenever you save with the Dungeoneering scroll or whenever you proc an additional one with like your head add-on or the well, like that's a 15k potion, dude. It's insane.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm very happy with that, actually.
And also, like, what is it? They're introducing a new thing where you can save 1/5?
Right, the 120 Herblore cape.
Ah, right, yeah. 1/5 of your ingredients are saved? Is that right?
Yeah, and you make it in batches of 5 when it comes to overloads.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's actually a good perk. I'm okay with that.
It's really good for PVMers because, like, you don't want to sit there for 10 hours making overloads for your PVM. You can, save 5 times that amount and save money now with the Herblore cape, which is really cool.
How is that going to affect the economy, though?
Good question.
You need to get 120 to unlock it, so unless someone's going for 200 mil, I don't think it'll impact the economy that much, because if you're a PVMer, you're probably just going to make, all of the extremes and stuff, and then make the overloads with the cape when you get 120 or something like that.
If you think about it, if you're a skiller and you get 120 Herblore, like that, saving that 1/5 will definitely make things a lot more profitable for you, so you can make money with Herblore, then like it will make skilling rewarding, right? So
it's only with overloads.
Only with overloads.
Yeah. So you can't profit from it.
Oh well, that's stupid. Jagex, change that, please. That makes
it's not stupid. No. It's balanced in a way that's good in my opinion, because if you could do it with any potion, then like it's gonna mess up the potion prices for early levels because people abusing it at 120. I think being stuck to overloads that can't be traded, even if someone got 120. They can save money while getting their PVM supplies or getting really fast XP, but they're not going to mess up the economy by being like, hey, I just made and saved loads of ingredients on these aggro pots. So now if anyone wants to make aggro pots at under 120 Herblore, they're going to lose money.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
So I want to point out, here I go, being negative again, but I want to point out a little concern I had with farming, right? Because this is actually kind of weird to me, because they made a nerf to player-owned farms not too long ago on the reason that it's too OP farming XP. And then they go ahead and release another farm with even higher rewarding animals. Am I the only one who sees the issue right there?
Now, do you not think the reason was that, they realized, okay, 120 farming is confirmed, and, what are we going to release from level 99 to 120 that can reward players when XP rates are so high already?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're okay, we need to be, put this in context. When 120 farming comes out, we need to have space for people to feel like they're being rewarded, and we can't increase XP any more than it already is. So.
Exactly. So I think they nerfed it on the premise of, hey, look, we're going to nerf this player-owned farm, so now this new ranch at a time, that this dinosaur requires 118, that's going to give you what your dragons used to. But you can also do dragons for half the XP alongside that now, so that if anything, farming is even more experienced now, and now when you get all of the unlocks. But if they gave, hey, look, your dragons give 200k XP each. Oh, and this new dinosaur, it gives 600k. So have fun. There's no way they could have done that, right? I think that's what Rav was saying.
I know that,
they had
but
to.
My point is mainly the overpowered XP that this will bring either way, because as you say, it's going to be in addition to the other farm, and it has to be more XP than the dragons to be made worthwhile with this more frequent, which means farming is going to be extremely fast after this update.
I feel like that's okay because a lot of the high tier dinosaurs will be locked behind very high farming levels, and it will just help people that are getting their last push to 120 or 200 mil, rather than just helping someone that's literally level 81 getting all of that XP from Zygomites just to get to 99 or whatever, right? So you have to actually work to get the high XP now instead of just being rewarded it before you're even 99.
Yeah,
I
agree to a certain degree on that. But I think the idea of making OP XP methods is a really bad move. Because safe cracking is a very good example of something that is just stupid. It went from 200k XP an hour to 600k in one update. That's not good. It's not good for the game. It's not good for the future. And they're doing it again with farming now. He tried to make the argument that farming is as quick if you were to do farm runs. But I think they're kind of ignoring the fact that player-owned farm is completely AFK, it's free.
Yeah.
It's not free anymore.
Well, not anymore. It's still cheaper than actually buying trees and planting them and making sure they're okay every hour.
I think tree runs are actually cheaper than player-owned farms now that you have to feed the animals.
Oh, is it actually?
Yeah, because even with the seed prices going up a bit, I still believe it's cheaper GP and XP by doing magics and palms than it is from player-owned farms feeding
I didn't actually
dragons and buying the dragons and whatever.
Well, I don't buy dragons myself. I just buy the trout to feed them.
Yeah, that's fair. But if you breed, then yeah, sure, it's probably cheaper. But if you're going for maximum experience, it means you'd buy the babies, which is going to cost you a little bit, and then the food's going to cost you. And Zygomites aren't even worth doing anymore because they're so expensive with the mushrooms, right? So it's a yes and a no situation. It's if you're going for optimal XP, you just do both anyway.
Yeah. I think that entire idea, though, is still, in general, worrying. And I guess it's fair with farming, if it is like you say it is. But I think it still goes for other updates as well.
For me, I think that, I love player-owned farms as an update. I think we all did. It was a fun update, great idea. The sad thing is that I really wish that farming was a money maker. At the moment, it just seems like herb runs are good and stuff, but it just seems like they're more focused on XP training methods rather than money-making methods. I would like to see a balance between
with the update.
Maybe. Hopefully, it could be.
Because the only way you can get the stuff for the new potions is from farming.
Right, so it's not tradable?
Well, it is tradable, yes,
right.
But that's where the moneymaker comes in, right? So at the moment, you could get all of the secondary ingredients by just PVMing.
Yeah.
Right.
They're making it so the secondary ingredients of the new stuff from Herblore is only obtained via doing farm runs, where it be, maybe those cactus patches or the new trees that give the fruits that you add, all of those places. So someone could technically go plant their trees, grow them all up, and never ever purchase any more seeds, and literally just do a run like how you do on Iron Man, where you get the papayas.
Yeah.
You can do that with the new fruit and probably make a decent amount of money incorporating that every couple of hours into your gameplay or something.
Yeah, that was my one gripe with farming on RS3. I think it's an enjoyable skill to level, but what they've done on old school is that, they made it really rewarding in terms of produce, and they've just nerfed the drop tables elsewhere.
Yeah.
For example, bonsters don't drop limpet root notes anymore, But what they've done is like they've increased the yield like 6 times. So it's always more beneficial for you to like farm this stuff.
Yeah. I feel like that's what they're doing on RS3 now with the new update, and I really like that fact. Like, you can be a PVMer, make loads of money, and then purchase the stuff from, farmers.
Yeah.
Or you can be a farmer and either supply your own stuff or sell it to people for profit.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation.
That said, though, I really like Player on Farm as an update for Iron Man, though. I feel like that's a really cool concept in general, to be able to like get your own animals and raise them and all that stuff. I'm a big huge fan in that sense, but as I said, the XP rates might be a little bit controversial.
I wonder what the produce from the dinosaurs are going to give you, because we got extreme potions from normal player-owned farms. Like, we got the Extreme Invention, which is amazing, and then Extreme Hunter, Divination. They're all really good. What's the new, dinosaurs going to give? Are they going to give us more extreme potions or something? Like, I can't see what they can give that could be, a good reward as good as the previous player-owned farms, at least.
They should buff the runecrafting potion. I think that was the only, mediocrely weak one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited for all the farming and herbal stuff. So, that being said, and we've got the farming and the herbal stuff spoken about, and we're excited for the fact that it might bring some money some XP and everything like that. What about archaeology? What do you feel about archaeology as an update? How do you feel about it being a skiller? Because you could pretty much do everything when it comes to archaeology. Dude. And what's your opinion?
Had a blast actually trying it out on Runefest, and I talked to Rolly, who is the developer of it, and I had some of my questions answered. What I'm really happy about it, right, is that the entire skill is filled out with content already. And that was my main concern with any new skill, right? Because we have that idea that, at least with Invention and Divination, there wasn't really anything in the skill. It was just like a skill to be a skill. Whereas archaeology has something on every single level up to 120. It's always something new to do. It's always some area to explore. I think that is absolutely gold worth, and I think that's going to be really great for the skill. It is a bit of a grind, but I don't think that's necessarily an issue, because it kind of goes in with the aesthetic of RuneScape and what it already is a RuneScape skill, per se. The only word that I had was that the rewards seemed a bit lackluster. It seemed like kind of scrimshaws you get from player on ports, but with new effects, per se.
You gotta remember that those things aren't the only things. Then those power-ups aren't the only things that are coming from archaeology.
Yeah.
You gotta remember the ancient summoning.
That's a very good
You gotta
point.
remember the new ancient gizmos and those kinetic boot things and all of those things that are coming out.
That's actually an extremely good point.
They're gonna be good for skillers, PVMers, everything like that, right? So even though those ones don't seem that OP, they're just passives that you unlock. I think the actual content that you unlock are the ones that the late game with the ancient.
That's actually a very good point. Yeah, that actually is gonna be pretty good. Of course, it really depends how good that ancient stuff is. It kind of goes the same thing with the farming and herblore thing, that I'm worried about the XP rates of that, and how quick things are going to be after 99. Because even though it is 99 to 120 or 120 to 200 mil, I don't think that's a good excuse to make the XP methods extremely overpowered.
Yeah, I agree that they shouldn't be extremely overpowered, but I do agree that they need some type of progression past 99 if they have a 120 skill.
Definitely, but it needs to be balanced in that sense. But all in all, archaeology actually seems really nice. I was also kind of worried that it would be a skill just to be a skill, that it wouldn't really offer anything.
Yeah, a lot of people
But honestly, I don't really have that impression of it. Sure, it's not really a main core skill as fishing would be, or mining or whatever. It feels more like dungeoneering in that sense, but all in all, it seems like a nice skill, and I'm excited for it. I'm most excited for the race to 99 that's going to be happening in the community.
Race to 99, do 200 mil. Maikeru's going to get rank 1, bro.
Let's go 5.6. Let's
go.
They did say that they expect the first person to have 99 is going to be at the end of the week. End of the release week. And I'm okay with that. This seems like a reasonable XP rate.
And I think they said it would be about 3 times as long to get 120.
Yeah, which I think is going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like a month to get 120. I'm down with that.
Yeah. So I'm actually quite excited for it. I think it's good. I really just hope that everything holds up. Obviously, with Invention, they said that the first person to get 99 is going to take like a month or something like that. 24 hours. So we'll see what happens with archaeology as well. I think the largest worry that I have at the moment is, again, something that can't really be predicted, but any kind of bug, really.
Yeah.
Something on release that's going to break it or destroy something or anything at all. But I think doing a playtest was really smart on their side, even though it did leak the entire skill. Because it really just shows that they're trying to get feedback before they actually release it. And they're getting it from the people who are the most engaged people in the game, who actually pay to come to London, Farnborough, to attend the event and try it out there. You don't get more dedicated fans than that. So I think that's a good move from them, and I'm extremely excited.
I think as a skill, it looks very well thought out, and they've put lots of effort into this, and they've been working on it for a while. The issue I have is that if we put everything on the timeline, archaeology comes out in January, the farming and herblore update come out in November, right? And then there's a new boss in summer 2020, right? All the PVMers are going to be so bored because there hasn't been a boss. There's no boss in there. There's no boss until summer 2020, right? And it's gonna be so boring for these PVMers to kill the same bosses for years now. If you think about the power creep that's gonna come in through, herblore, elder overloads, all those funky potions, plus archaeology, new familiars, new kind of armor and stuff, new gizmos. Yeah, there needs to be something to put that up against. I think there needs to be a boss at some point between now and summer 2020.
I don't really... this is probably because I'm a skiller and I'm clueless about everything combat, but I don't really see why there's needs for so many bosses all the time. I might be wrong here, and do correct me if I'm saying something wildly misguiding here, but the way people kill Solak, for instance, or Virago or whatever, is extremely high level and extremely dedicated to make it actually work smoothly. So, how many people are actually killing these monsters as much to reasonably release another boss?
A lot.
Oh, a lot, yeah.
And more importantly, I feel like, is if you go on Twitch now, the highest viewed streamers in general, there's obviously exceptions, are doing the hardest bosses, right? It's the best advertisement.
Hey, if you go on Twitch, the highest tier streamers are killing QBD on hard prime.
Okay, this month aside, QBD wins this month, but normally Virago, Duo Hard Mode, Virago, Telos.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's the most entertaining content in general. Obviously,
so
there's some.
Okay, another noob question then. Solak is the hardest boss in the game currently, right?
It depends. Telos at 4K, and then Duo Hard Mode Virago. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Because what I'm kind of worried about, right, is that of the replay value per se. Once a harder boss is being released with better rewards, are the other bosses still relevant at all, or they're just kind of existing and never play them again, or what's going on with
Jagex's responsibility to still make them relevant, and it's a really tough job to do. Right, so when they released Angel of Death, everyone thought, because it drops tier 92 major wand and orb, right? They thought Virago would be obsolete, but absolutely not. Virago is more profit than it has ever been, because that's the only place to get tier 90 armor, right? Then they released Elite Dungeons, and you can get tier 92 armor, but the caveat is you need to get the tier 90 armor first. So instead of making Virago less in demand, it's probably even more in demand because you need to get that energy as well. So they're gonna have to find a way to make the Telos weapons still relevant, I feel.
To be honest, linking into your point where you're saying PVM is gonna be bored and stuff, I feel like it isn't the case. I don't feel like we need. I mean, we do need new bosses, but I feel like RuneScape is one of the only games that has content that God Wars Dungeon 1 that was made in 2007 still be relevant and still be played by loads of people, even if it's higher end players to get their 1 second kills on normal mode or their 6 second hard mode Kree kills or whatever they're doing, right? It's played and still relevant to pretty much every player because you can make 4 mil an hour at Kree, or you can kill the bosses at a fast time and feel good about it, or you're just learning PVM and they're a pretty good stepping stone. RuneScape is the only game that I've ever played that you can go and make money, and decent money at that, from content that is, 5, 10, even 12 years old.
Yeah.
So even though new bosses come out and it can make things a little bit redundant, like you said, Rav, the fact that they always think about it and they always link it into other things in the future, or it needs to be upgraded or something like that, like with Virago, for instance, with the Tectonic, or Rots with the Malevolent needed for masterwork, it makes everything still have a use and still have a reason to go there.
They are good at that.
Only the only the super dedicated PVMers are going to be bored because they've done everything, or they have IFB or something. There's always something to aim for normally, unless you're literally in the top like 0.1%, in my opinion.
I get that, but then think about it. Like, I know Elite Dungeons have come out. People don't view them as a challenging boss. I think that's fair to say, right? Like, you can do them pretty easily in a group of 3 if you want. Like, it's more like a raid, quick raid, than a boss. But before that, was it Solak? Solak was the last one, right?
Yeah.
Solak was in 2017 summer, right? So it's already been a year. It's been 2 years since
a year and a half,
a year and a half, pretty much, right? And
it'll be 2 years, well, a bit over 2 years when they release the next boss, which is the Elite Elder Gold Wars dungeon.
They just need something, you know, like, it doesn't have to be a new boss. It could be a revamp of an old boss, right? Like, say for example, Araxor didn't have a enrage cap of 300. It went on infinitely.
Cool. Yeah.
Because you're not going to make any more money, are you? Because it's redundant. You're making it harder for yourself. Because at the moment it caps at 300. And it stays at 300. Say, for example, if they made no Araxor rage cap, that would be like low effort and so much content for people to enjoy. It doesn't have to be a new boss. It could just be revamp things. I think they're planning on doing something like that, aren't they?
They're revamping the graphics of Araxi and Araxor, I think, for the new Halloween event that they're planning on doing, because it's a Araxor or like Araxite based quest or something to do with like Halloween, but also replayable after Halloween. And then they're like revamping some of the graphics, which would be really cool for them to be like, hey, we also add in hard mode Araxor or higher enrage, like you said. That would be the perfect time to release something like that, yeah.
And I agree that a boss should be released about once a year to keep it active and whatever, but not all the time. I feel like that's the only thing that happens in this game is new bosses, new PVM content. That should be the main focus. But I don't know. I'm missing other updates, like a skill ring now that we're getting, more quests, maybe a mini game, if that would be of interest to anyone at all.
Good luck making it rewarded enough for people to play.
Yeah, that's the issue with that, isn't it?
I would be happy if they just took a couple of months to work on beginning and beginning and medium game. That would be a time well spent. Yeah. But for the high-end community, they want bosses. They're getting frustrated.
And that's what, honestly though, that's what I really like about RuneScape in terms of both skilling for armor and PVM, because there is a monster for every tier, like, as you go along, and there's a new goal every single time. Once you kill the giant mole, maybe you want to go for the Queen Black Dragon robot, or whatever. I don't know what's the best thing after that. There is always a new goal after each boss you've killed, up until the very top levels, which I think is really good for RuneScape. But we don't really have that with other pieces of content, like skills, for instance. There's not really too much to go for other than 99 and 120. And I miss having that option. I guess Prifdiness is a viable option for that, but other than that, it's not really too much to go for.
Prifdiness was awesome, dude. It was so awesome.
Dude, that was incredible.
It was. I also thought Menaphos. Exactly. I thought Menaphos was a great update. I don't know if many people agree with me, but I liked Menaphos because it filled the gap.
People didn't like it because it was low level and they couldn't really do much there because it was aimed at lower levels. But I think that is amazing. It was a great update because it gives people a mid-tier goal to actually go for. Like, sure. I'm gonna get that level so I can access Menaphos and do all of these things and eventually get to your Prifdiness, right?
For sure, yeah. So
I think that is honestly an amazing update, and I want more things like that. Bosses, it's nice and everything, but we have something for every single level at this point.
Okay, so speaking about that, we can look into like the boss pets and the skill pets and like the combat pets and everything like that. That's really good because it gives you a reward for replaying the content.
Yeah.
Looking at the new pets and competition that they spoke about, the fact that, you know, clue scrolls, mini games, stuff like that are going to get pets. Are you happy? Are you excited for that? Like, does that give you a reason to go back and replay old content to keep you a bit, you know, engaged before they release like another update or something? Or do you think that you can't be bothered to do that content again just for a pet? Like, how do you view that? Because I know a lot of people have mixed inputs on that.
what I think, right, is that the community absolutely love pets.
For whatever reason, they love them. Everyone loves them.
Though, I'm doing a community poll every single year about the best and the worst updates, and every year there's been released pets, that is always number one. Skill pets, combat pets, every single time. And I think it is because of the achievement of it, right? People really love getting achievements, and people are tired of things like titles and whatever, because there's so many of them at this point. And it's getting to the point as well with pets. What I think would be an idea, I don't think it's a bad idea to stop with pets, because the same way as cosmetics, you want to show off something that you're proud of, you want to show off something that you think fits with your fashion scape or whatever, right? I think they should release a pet that is a combination of all of the pets. Let's kind of like the Jack of all trades, I guess, with the title.
What the? Just an abomination.
Ralphie combined with fucking Bubbles.
Okay, let's say then that you... okay, I'm gonna put out a random example here, okay? Let's say that there is this... I don't know, I'm gonna say an owl, for instance, right? This is a massive owl that you can get as a pet in exchange for all your other pets. That would give people like kind of like the Master Skillscape or Maxscape, but for pets.
Would you have to give it in?
So
or would you just get rewarded?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's just an example. The idea is that you get a pet for having all the other pets.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Master of all pets, and it's just like some...
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Because people really like to show off their achievements, and that's why they want pets, because it is an achievement. It's something to go for that shows you're dedicated, that shows you have skill.
Or it's just RNG, dude, right? Like,
yeah, well, to be fair, that's
it's dedication, though. Even if it's RNG, it's dedication. Like, Master of all took me so
multiple
long.
pets, yeah, I agree.
I think it goes in for the idea of reducing pets. Maybe prestige it, maybe, if that's something you can do. They have that idea for skills, which I honestly thought was a great idea. But imagine you could, I don't know, trade all your pets in for a tier 1 pet, and then you have to get them all back, and you could trade them in for a higher level.
Oh my God.
Honestly, I don't know why you guys are laughing. I think that's a great idea.
I mean, it's a cool idea.
Sheer amount of time that would take.
Jeez.
Well, to be fair, what are you doing in this game other than just wasting time?
Yes, exactly. No,
At the moment, I'm going for 110 fletching. Why? I don't know.
I get that.
I'm doing it.
I 100% get that, but imagine someone having like a prestige like 5 Master of all pet, like, no, oh my Jesus.
To be fair, put it on a high score. Who got the most attack pets in their lifetime, you know? It would be RNG,
that'd be cool.
But it would be cool because it gives people something to go for. And I honestly do think, you see this in the PVM community, you see in the skilling community, people love competition.
Yeah, they do.
We see it in the esports community, people want competition in RuneScape 3 as well. And we don't have that all that much because of MTX. Achievements is a great idea for that. And because people love pets, why not make that out to be an achievement or a competition during a prestige system?
I completely get that. Okay, I got a question. They have the PVM bossing hub coming out, where it's going to be like a second max guild-ish kind of thing, tailored for PVMers, and there'll be different unlocks with different types of like PVM achievements. So you'll get like another portal, but you may not need to be maxed to get the portal to the bosses. Maybe you need Reaper title or something. That being said, they said about bringing out seasonal high scores at the same time. What's your viewpoint on seasonal high scores? I personally love them, and I think they should do them all the time, like way more often than they do, because it gets people doing the content. It keeps the PVMers happy. Like Ravlar said, they get bored. Like if there's fastest person to kill this gets this title and it's gold, or the top 100 people get a silver one, whatever. Like that's really fun, and it keeps people engaged. And then there was also other stupid ones like killing X amount of imps and things like that, right? It's just really cool little quirky things that people can participate in. Maybe they could have, hey, look, you can trade in your skilling pets or something, and during this competition, whoever receives the skilling pets the most times, you then get rewarded or something like that, right? There could be a skilling orientated seasonal high score, because most of them are just PVM. I think a skilling one would be cool, right? I
actually have the Supreme title, because I was the first person to get rank 1 on the seasonal high score for capturing people in Heist.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm actually a huge fan of seasonal high scores. It's such a shame that they put it on hold, or that they don't do it all that much
They're saying
anymore.
They might do it with the release of the bossing hub, and I'm super hyped.
I really, really hope they do. And I don't really care if it was like PVM oriented. Just the idea of having seasonal high scores there gives people a reason to fight for something. And back when Seasonal High Score was active, it was a massive competition. There was a very small community in it probably, but the people who went for it was dedicated. It was a competition.
It was great.
And especially if they make it PVM related, it'll be great streaming content because you give a specific goal to go for. I honestly think that it's a great, very simple solution to a massive problem.
They said, like, it looks easy, but I think I asked ModPie this directly. He said, we'd love to do it. It's just very tough to set up. For whatever reason, he didn't go into specifics. He just said, like, trust me, it's challenging.
I think it's worth the effort, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. I think it's great. It brings the community together, right? Everyone's focused on other people's achievements because it puts theirs in perspective, right?
And
so that's why
I don't mind like rehashes. Like a lot of the previous high scores have been great, like most farming herbs in a specific time or most damage taken. I don't think it needs to be new high scores all the time. It can be previous ones. I don't really mind that. And I don't see, like, of course, it might be hard to do new things, but I don't see the issue in just taking what's already there and just redo it.
Yeah, surely, but the thing, like, even if it is new things, surely it can't be that hard to track certain things. Like, obviously, some stuff are going to be hard to track, but there's so many different skilling parts that you could do. It's like, even just something so simple, like the person who made the most potions will get like a potion mixer title or something. Like, you could easily do something like that and link it into skilling so someone can either get their 200 mil Herblore or get money by making unfinished potions or something and then get rewarded for it.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really think that's a huge issue at all. So I was kind of hoping they were going to bring that back, but I guess we'll just have to see.
Great idea. I think it is a great idea. It's just they know that we like it. I mean, like they are well aware that we want that. We
should tell the esports lady that. Be like, hey, do this. And she's like, okay, that'd be great.
One of the, I guess, last things I want to ask about is about the reworks and remaster stuff. We're getting Managing Miscellanea sometime like mid-year.
Thank God.
Are you excited for remasters, and like what would you want to see from Miscellanea? Because me personally, I feel like if they're changing Miscellanea, I feel like they should do it so it helps Iron Men and stuff. Like maybe the maybe the Miscellanea people can harvest energy and then energy can be used for your charges or whatever, and then maybe they could also link it into invention somehow else, with instead of it being energy from divination, invention, maybe they can find you, I don't know, like salvage that can't be sold but can be disassembled, because salvage is a big thing right now, and parts is a big thing. Maybe they can solve some of those issues by adding it to places like that.
So for the remastered, I'm all for it, because at the moment, if you look at RS3, right, there's so much content. There is so much content there in terms of just density of things to do, rather than necessarily introduce something completely new and take like a fuck ton of dev time for that. Rework something, remaster it, make it relevant, and make people enjoy it. And that doesn't overwhelm new players, because they're just replacing old content with new familiar content, but it has to be done well. It has to be done really, really well. And I think Miscellanea is a good... That's one of the first updates I ever requested, dude, because like when I started playing Iron Man, I was like, how cool would it be if they just got my energy for me? Yeah. How cool would that be? Well, instead of like fishing tuna, they could fish shark or something. And really, really cool idea. And I prefer that than adding like a player-owned army, which does it for you.
Sure.
Yeah, like just make relevant content player-owned. You don't need to call it player-owned, but just add that premise into things which already exist. I'm a big fan.
I think having a specific team to rework old content is a really good move. RuneScape really suffers from that everything is old and looks out of date and looks crashing with each other in terms of graphics, which is also a huge like point with the announcement they made about making another stage of better graphics in the game. It's great, but it's going to crash with everything else. And they need to update everything in order to make it look better.
Yeah, that's true.
So I really do think that having a team to update things and make things more not old is a really good move. And I really hope they're going to be efficient at it and not do like one thing every 6 months.
Yeah, and it shouldn't just be graphical, right? You can rework things so they just make sense, you know, right? Like,
yeah, definitely.
You can remove some of the redundant... Like, for example, one thing which I love about both games is that, you know, the task set rewards? like Sears Village Diaries, right?
Oh yeah,
I absolutely love doing
Achievements,
that. And one thing, I feel like they're a bit outdated on RS3. I feel like they could remaster them and add like an Uber tier diary with some like better rewards and stuff. Because some of the rewards are like, they don't make any sense on this game whatsoever, because they don't have any value in 2019.
Yeah.
And like, I really like that idea, but I think like it should be more than graphical. It should be like reworking the actual content so it makes sense for nowadays.
They did to a certain degree with the Achievement remake, which I'm a huge fan of as well. It kind of goes back to the competition part of things. But I think it's really good that they remade the achievements, and I don't really mind adding more of that either. More hidden things, more fun things.
Yeah, for sure.
They updated Catherby, right, to make it graphic. This was a couple of years back, maybe, right? And they moved the lodestone and they made it look prettier, right? But they could have also changed it so the beach was like right next to the bank and stuff to make things a bit more They could have updated more things than just graphically. You know, they could have added a bit more zest to the area so it's more noob friendly.
Yeah, more reason to visit.
More reason to visit, yeah. And every time they do that, they should do more than graphics.
They definitely done it for Tavali and Berthup well. The more times I experience Berthup and Tavali, the more things I discover there, and even just the intro of like, hey, look, you can do this intro, we'll talk you through things. Or the first time you kill trolls in Berthup, they're like, they force it to drop certain things. They force it to drop a cape so you wear it, and they're like, hey, look, this gives you stats. And then they force it to drop food, and they're like, hey, look, this food is useful. Then they force it to drop a herb. You're like, hey, this herb can be used in this skill. Like, things like that are perfect. And they've added more than just, hey, look, we're reworking the bunnies to make them look nice. They've done like, we've moved everything and we've made it more accessible, and we've like added these things and we've made it so that you're going to enjoy your experience there more. It's really good.
I think Berthup and Tavali is interesting because I do think it's a good area for new players, but I just feel like they could have done it in Lumbridge. You know, like why like take away from the core of the game?
That is, well, to be honest, that's completely nostalgic reasons though. There's no really a good reason per se to put it in Lumbridge.
I feel like the reason why it's not in Lumbridge and stuff is because, hey, look at the space in Tavali and Berthup, and look at all of the trainers and things like that. Could they really fit all of those people in Lumbridge? Like someone that's going to help with Hunter, someone who's going to help you with Herblore, with the Herblore quest there to tie it in. There's the summoning quest there to help you with summoning to tie it in. Like, they've got all of the beginner quests and the beginner stuff in that area, alongside the lowest tier Slayer Master, stuff like that, right? There's not that in Lumbridge. Even though it's an iconic thing for low levels, I feel like RuneScape has like moved on a bit, and that's like the new noob level zone, right?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be exciting to see what's going to happen with it. I am quite confident in this setup they've made with the new teams and everything, where they have the episodic team and the I forgot all the names they're having, but they're making at least an change to all aspects of the game, and they're hiring people to work on these different sides of things. But that, it kind of goes into what I said earlier as well, that it sounds really nice and it looks very fancy, but we need to actually see it in progress before.
Let's hope that when it goes in action, like, it's worth the splitting up the teams, and it's worth the effort that they've put in to make these things. I'm sure it will be, because I'm actually really excited to the fact that there is dedicated teams to things now, and not just everyone going somewhere that they slot in to help in a certain project. Everyone gets their own stuff to do, and I think that's going to give good direction. And the fact that we didn't have updates for 3 months, like, I don't think that's going to happen as much anymore if there's dedicated teams to always consistently work on those things.
I really do hope so. And I think the new executive producer is also going to try to make that work. So I honestly do think we're on a better track, but it's going to take some more time to get to that point.
Yeah, people need to be patient, but the issue is, can they be patient? Like Will said, we're at an all-time low in numbers, pretty much. Are people going to wait? Are people going to come back? Or have they had enough? That's the issue. And hopefully people do give it a chance.
I really do hope so, though. Because, honestly, RuneScape is a great game. It's a lot of fun to play when you're actually playing it the way you're supposed to be playing it, doing bossing and questing and getting golds and whatever. But it just needs that spark. And I think what's happening now, or what's going to happen in the next few months, is a good step towards that.
should we move on to the City of Centiston quest? Now, I have a question for you. When they presented it, I thought it would be like a new Prif. I now come to realize it's just there to explore for a quest.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're actually going to do with it, because they said it's not going to be the next Prif and stuff. So, is it going to be like Dimension of the Damned? I don't know.
I'm not really sure. I can't remember too much about that. It was just a lot of storytelling and pictures that kind of faded out. But I'm not too familiar with the recent quests and lore to say too much about it. All I can say in terms of quests, though, is that I kind of missed the silly quests and whatever. Because they announced a lot of like a large quest, which is cool and all that stuff, but I don't know. I'm more a fan of the like small silly bottle quests.
Dude, you know like the silly quests that they tried to be silly with like Evil Days, the Big Day Out, and there was another one like the Gower quest. Like, do you think that they made it silly, or do you think that they just tried too hard? Like they're trying too hard to be authentic.
I think they tried a little bit hard on it. There are a lot of great quests though in the game that is not necessarily about you being super godly and killing everything. Like the murder mystery quest, for instance, or the Sithrid Abbey thing, Cooks' instance, even the Dark Knight's Fortress. A lot of those quests are great, and I miss that kind of quests. You know, they're like the small, subtle ones, not instead of like, oh, dude, it just annoyed me so much when they updated the Death of Chivalry, and the first thing the player sees is like a god coming and greeting them. That's like, no, man, you gotta work yourself to it. You can't just be a god when you get to the world. You know.
You can't be born.
You gotta work your way up, man.
Oh. That was the great thing about Ritual of Majra and Wild Gothic Sleep, right? Because that was the first time we'd seen them there, and we'd had to work to get to that point. That made it worthwhile. I completely agree.
It's supposed to feel like an achievement, like you did something great to save the world, and now it's a god coming to like beat you up or something. That's gonna be great, but no, they're just cutting that out. And I feel like it's kind of getting into the same thing now with the new quest, where it's all massive, it's all super scary, and it's all dragonkins and gods and Sliske coming back somehow.
Although, that being said, they did say that they didn't realize that people were as big fans or didn't mind short quests as much as they did until the survey. Looking at the survey panel room, where they was looking at the survey results, they said it surprised them with the amount of people that enjoy shorter quests and don't want big, long quests. So, now that they know that data, they didn't know that data going into Runefest, they said they may be more inclined in releasing some shorter quests in between. So that pretty much answers your question, I guess, kind of. So they're now more inclined to do it because they know that players like the smaller quests as much as the bigger quests, if not more sometimes. So hopefully they take that on board from the survey and they do some more smaller and fun quests. Like Violet is Blue is one of my favorite quests in the game. It's so goofy, so lovely. Like Violet is amazing. It's just so fun to do, and you get like engrossed in the storyline. It's one of the first ones I done without a guide that I enjoyed doing without a guide the whole way. Never got frustrated, stuff like that, right? So yeah, if they can release some more stuff like that, I'd be down. They're gonna do the Halloween quest, hopefully linking into Araxor. Don't think that's gonna be a super long quest. I think that's gonna be quite fun. So if they can keep releasing stuff like that in between the big ones, then
what I kind of miss like is obviously they removed the Romeo and Juliet quest, but that entire idea of walking into a city and finding a normal inhabitant or villager and talking to them and they need you to do something for them that's not necessarily about killing someone.
Yeah.
I miss that, you know, the little subtleness of just being a part of a city and helping the people who live there.
Did you guys like the Rune Mysteries reworked quests? They went to Rune Memories.
Honestly, I didn't mind it too much. It was more mystic now, and it made more sense in terms of the quest. So yeah,
it fit the scene better.
It did. I do wish Aubrey would have more of a purpose, though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty confident with the quest as well. I think it's good that they have an own team to work on the quest. Like quest again is a very core piece of RuneScape, and just like PVM updates that should be happening over a frequent time. But it's very sporadic at the moment, and I don't think that's very good.
Having a dedicated team will hopefully give the consistency that we need for updates like that.
Definitely. Okay, brilliant. So I think we've covered the quest. Final topic then. Elder God Wars Dungeon. Da da da.
Will, what's your take on the new bossing content?
Oh man, I'm so excited right now. Now the thing is, right, I think it's really a cool idea to rehash the God Wars Dungeon. You noticed that as well at Runefest when they announced it and everyone started applauding. And you don't see that often in RuneScape 3 Reveals, right?
Yeah.
Which I think it really shows that Jagex actually hit the community in the right spot at that point.
Plus, they did it well. They didn't give away too much. They had the, Elder God speaking. They had it eerie. They had the teaser. They hit you with Elder God Wars Dungeon, and everyone was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because now there's, as long as they don't do it where they're like, hey, we're going to show you the whole first phase of this boss. As long as they do it where it's like, you have to go into the boss blind and you can enjoy it, learning it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be really good, but if they go and spoil it too much or tell you exactly what it drops and stuff, I won't enjoy the content as much. I want it to be surprising.
Yeah, it needs to be a surprise. I totally agree on that.
They need to keep that up. They need to keep that mystery, keep those type of trailers, maybe like we've spoke about in previous podcasts, like, how they had the trailer with the Elder God there, maybe then eventually they could just do a screenshot of the arena that's going to be Elder God Wars Dungeon, and people can be like, oh, that looks really cool or something, right? They need to just make it as, I guess, like, tease it as much as they can.
Yeah. And without a doubt, this is going to be like the big boy update of 2020. They're releasing during the summer, which is the main playing time for players. So they know exactly what they're doing, and this is without a doubt the biggest update of 2020.
Archaeology's in 2020 though.
It is, but I don't really seem to think that might be the largest one. The thing is, right, there's always a bit of a pattern with Jagex, right? They release an update in January that is usually well received, and they release one during summer, which is the big boy update.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And Archaeology, I think, is going to be the one that people will like, because it's a skill, it gives them something to do, it keeps them active until the summer, right? And then summer hits, is the biggest update of them all, the one they want everyone to be trying out, which is the Elder God Wars Dungeon.
That's fair, yeah.
So I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be very well received. My only concern with that is the drops, really. Mainly considering that the Combat Diversity Beta was cancelled, and I do think they had a lot of plans with that in terms of introducing new weapons with things like this. So I'm kind of worried about how they're going to solve that problem, considering they're already in the high level 90s in terms of releasing new weapons and armor. And what happens when they release level 99 gear, and what's going to be the next after that? So I don't know.
I also think is an issue with boss drop tables. Like, they drop so many supplies, and I know we spoke about this, right? If they don't want to drop new things, they're just going to keep on dropping old things like dwarf weeds and stuff like that. I don't know, dude. It's such a hard situation because they can't just drop cash, because cash is boring, right? I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know what they're going to drop in terms of normal resources and the good drops. Like,
no, I see your point, Rav. Yeah, because they're not going to drop stone spirits. Like, no one wants those. Like, if they do, then it's just a stupid drop. Like, no one will want that one. If they drop coins, it's boring. If they drop salvage, it's cool. You can have like 1 or 2 salvage drops, but if they continue to drop like more and more of these items, then you're just going to get them so much in so many different areas. Like, they're just not going to be worth anything. So
we have so many seeds in the game. you have no idea. Like, I had like when I used to do rots, I had like a bank of like 10k dwarf weed seeds at one point, and they sold for like less than 1k each. I'm like, oh, that's great.
You're saying that, but how many boss passes is this update going to release?
5.
Yeah, that's
you reckon there'll be 5 bosses?
Well, there'll be 4 on the main one.
And then one, like, Uber one, like Telos.
Yeah, they'll have the following pattern of all of the God Wars dungeons. So you have the 4 generals and then next. Then you have the 4 God generals or whatever they are in God Wars Dungeon 2. And then Telos.
I don't know what they're going to drop, dude, because if that's 5 bosses in one go, it's like... I don't know.
What do you want bosses for? They're going to be busy for ages with this thing. Oh, man. That's going to be great.
But like, what are they going to drop, dude? Because they can't drop mid-tier stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And 5 bosses?
There's no reason why they can't drop mid-tier stuff, though, the ones before the big one. Like, the God Wars Dungeon 2 gives tier 85. Why can't the 4 smaller ones give tier 87s, and the one in the middle gives a bigger thing? Like, maybe, I don't know whether they're going to increase the tier or what, but... Or they could have, like... So, the thing that I'd really enjoy would be given a reason to kill the ones on the outside as well as the middle one, by doing something like each one of the outside monsters drops a fragment or like a piece of a weapon that's then combined with a hilt from the main boss, and they're all untradeable. Like a Raxor, where you build your own scythe. instead of getting the hilt and the leg from Araxor, you get the hilts from the generals, and then you get the actual leg pieces to make a leg or whatever it'll be, right? You can get like 3 items, combine it, make the leg, which whatever it'll be, and then you have to combine it with a hilt from a general. I'd love that. I think that'd be really cool.
The one thing about RuneScape is, like, over the past few years, they've released, since Invention has come out pretty much, they've released a lot of rewards. There's so many rewards, like so many different types of weapons, tiers, armors and stuff. I just worry that they're running out of stuff unless they go into like, unless we go into like tier 94s exclusively. Like, I don't know. What more can they drop?
That's the hard part.
Yeah. I think it's what they tried to combat though with the combat diversity update, because they would release a whole new range of weapons by releasing special abilities with each one. But that was cancelled. So now what? And that's,
are they going to release a tier 95 and are they going to have a tier 95 of every style? Because then it makes other stuff redundant. Like,
would it be tier 95? Would it be tier 95 or tier 94? I'm not sure.
Well, we've never followed the pattern of 2. It goes 2, then 3, 2, then 3, 2, then 3, and every tier.
Right. I see. Gotcha. Okay, so it will be 95. And that will be a big upgrade from tier 92 because it's like
exactly.
It's like exponentially increasing.
Yeah.
So are they going to follow the pattern where it drops something else? Like mutated concentrated blast or something? I don't know. Like, what can they do?
It's going to be exciting to see.
Abilities for sure. There'll be abilities like always, right? So that's
you reckon?
Yeah, there'll be some abilities. Like,
Solite doesn't drop abilities though.
Good point. But like, reprisal and things like that from
Oh yeah, that's true.
And mutated barge and mutated fury and then mutated flurry. There'll be stuff, but yeah, I'm just excited to see what it will be, and I just really hope they do it in a way that incorporates the stuff before it. Right, that's the key.
Yeah. What if they done like upgrades so you can get a focus sight? And you add that to a Eldritch crossbow, and it makes the Eldritch crossbow get 2 or 3 tiers, but keeps all of the mechanics of the Eldritch crossbow as normal.
Right.
Would you be a fan of that? Because it's not necessarily releasing a new weapon.
I wouldn't mind
but
that.
It's upgrading your weapon, and it will change the look of it as well or something.
It's like it's natural progression, right, for things to replace other things. I get that, but at the same time, they've done such a good job of keeping things relevant so far. I just hope it continues. I hope it does.
It's scary to even think like
we're being very hopeful right now.
I did speak to one of the JMods who will be working on Elder God Wars Dungeon, and he said he wants the boss, like the final boss, to be the hardest boss to ever be released. So that's something.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
it kind of makes sense, I guess, considering it's Elder Gods and whatever.
Yeah, if you're fighting an Elder God, it better be strong. Dude.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I guess that's a good point to round up. And Rav, if you want to say any leaving words.
Oh my god, yes, your last goodbye, Rav. You can take this away.
I mean, I'll be still around. If anyone ever wants to reach me, just DM me on Discord. If you ever want to talk about anything, there are people here to, everywhere to talk about anything. So anything mental health related, whatever, drop me a DM. I'll always make time, even if I don't check it straight away. I just want to say a massive thank you to, firstly, Maikeru for, supporting me. He's a friend. He's a really, really good friend, but he's a friend I look up to. And he's really, really guided me through my YouTube journey. He's really calmed me down. I get angry sometimes. He's just like, Rav, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It brings me down to earth. And yeah, I love Maikeru's community so much. You guys know that. I think in general, probably the most positive community on Twitch. And yeah.
Aw, super cute.
And I do mean it though. Like every time I come into chat, I just feel so comfortable and relaxed. And you guys are amazing. And obviously, Will, I'm so happy you've recovered from chlamydia. I know it was I know it was a big scare for you, dude. But
I don't have chlamydia. People are thinking I do.
It was you who asked me to be on this podcast, so that's a massive honor for me. And yeah, you really do set the bar high when it comes to video editing. And we're very lucky to have you, dude. Don't you dare. I'm allowed to go, but you two aren't allowed to go anywhere, okay? That's the deal. Right?
Alright.
Okay. And yeah, thank you for all the love and support. And I know I've got nearly 9,000 YouTube subscribers for uploading 50 videos. I definitely don't deserve that. For some reason, you guys showed me a lot of love. and on Twitch as well. Like, so much love, so many subscriptions and love, and yeah, it really humbled me. And thank you for all the wonderful things this community has to offer, and keep on being nice to each other. And yeah, I'm here if you need me, but I'll miss you guys. Bye.
Oh, sweet. All right, with that, goodbye everyone. We'll see you guys the next time.
Bye.